And I'm like, nah. Listen.
This shit won't fly.
It's not going to end. So I'm just saying, like, don't do it. We're soft.
Welcome, everybody. Oh, that's good. So I introduced the entire show. Welcome to Push to Talk, by the way, whilst Eric fixes it.
There we go. There you go. I fixed it. Welcome to the Christmas show. I got my Christmas hat. No bell, though. It's kind of an... Yeah. I have worn this hat.
I don't know if I don't have, like, Christmassy stuff around, so, like...
You're not on video either, you chicken.
I look like shit right now, so, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I look terrible, too.
Yeah, sure you do.
I'm wearing the shirt I wore yesterday, but that's because I just woke up. You know, at some point I'll take a shower and get dressed.
You disgust me.
I know.
and we have the squeaky door in honor of Soth not being here. You know, it's going. It's great.
The squeaky door is how you summon him, right? Isn't it?
Might be
how it works.
Might be.
It's like, you know. You don't say Soth's name backwards 3 times in a mirror. Like, you just use that squeaky door like a set number of times and it appears.
Wasn't that part of a Sting album? Wasn't it 7 Summoner's Tales or something like that? One of Sting's albums? Hey, I'm going to share my 59-month sub anniversary.
I'm not too clued up on Sting's discography, unfortunately. I didn't realize that was required for this episode.
Well, it was. If you would read the show notes, it said you needed to brush up on. Yeah, no. I don't know what you're talking about. We once did.
I don't even have show notes.
4 years ago, we had show notes.
There was a time when we had show notes.
There was. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. So, hey, welcome everybody to the Christmas show. Because I have my Christmas hat on. That's why it is, So, we were talking about some interesting stuff earlier. And follow from LINDIPRAVITY. Thank you. I'll try and keep up on those today as well. It's
been a week.
Are we going back to the topic of bringing up inappropriate things to converse with, like in social circles? Because we can carry on with that if you want.
Well, I'll let Dawn decide.
May or may not. Some of the things we say may or may not get the show in trouble. So.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there going, some of those things that you said, like Dawn was saying some things on it, someone else had said in a particular chat, and I'm just sitting here with my brain trying to wrap it around, like, how do you even get there? Like,
there's no way to understand that roadmap.
So it's crazy.
That one's a difficult one for most people, in actual fact.
I was actually going to do this show, but I couldn't. Number one, I'm not going to take my whole rig. The loft in our house is above me. I'm not going to take my whole rig out of my office up into the loft with the camera and everything. And then I was trying to see, if this whole thing would work over Wi-Fi. It just really doesn't work, and I didn't have a long enough Ethernet cable up there.
McLeod, you were on that post-fireside thing, which was... I will say, if you want to get everybody talking about a lot of stuff, you guys all picked the people who are going to talk forever. On one show.
I mean, that's true.
There's you do talk a lot, and then there's Ashtarothi who talks a lot about Triglavians instead of Triglavians, like everybody else says it. Triglavians.
By the way,
and then Caleb, who's talking about farms and fields forever, which is Caleb's thing. So. You get used to it after a while.
By the way,
was one of those
deodorant.
things, yeah.
This is the elf hat. I am not Santa. All right, I am just a jolly elf.
It's 4:20 a.m.
4:20 a.m. So yeah, real roadmap from CCP as a Christmas present that you want. So anyway, I was going to do it from our loft. Our loft
illegal.
our loft is all decorated for Christmas, right? It's got the fireplace, the menorah, the Christmas trees. It's got everything. But no, it was not. Maybe like a old style Macy's Thanksgiving Day William Conrad setup. If any of you are old enough to remember that, but yeah. Where's McLeod with a hat? McLeod, Vast Gamer, McLeod, like chicken out on video. I don't know.
I did, yeah. Like, sorry.
By the way, we were kind of going into the COVID wardrobe conversation. I sensed that, Don. Where it's like in college, like you look over there in the corner of the room and you're like, you know,
Probably still clean.
I only wore
Or then
that
only
shirt for
3
a couple
days.
hours yesterday.
Yeah.
I can put that back on this morning.
I slept in this. It's fine. I'll change later, and then later never comes.
I have actually worn this hat on the golf course, just so you guys know.
That's fantastic.
We have a thing called the Tassel Cap Open, where everybody freezes and sometimes you're in the snow.
Oh,
So,
this week has been a week.
really? Let's
Yeah.
talk about this week.
Well, from last week, basically we had the test soda, which I know a lot of people have covered in some way. Then we had the test Q&A that got released finally after that. Then we've had
because Test are seemingly quite scared about releasing their soda, right at the point where people can make can basically take
to
that
make sure
soda
that-
and break it into pieces live on air. Like, it seems weird, right?
Yeah, and then apparently Horde had a town hall. I didn't even know about that, but I saw Moomin. If you want to promote this one, Moomin did a short synopsis on INN in a little article, and that made me feel much better last night.
I must read.
I was having a hard night last night, so
I really enjoy the way Moomin writes. So you guys haven't read that, definitely go.
it was pretty fair. Like, I mean, it explained what he had, and then there was a link to the actual 2-hour long town hall, which they had it, I think, about the same time as the test one, maybe a little overlap.
13th, I think.
So
Something like that, yeah.
So let's kind of go over for I mean, let's give a little summary.
Of which one?
Both.
The test one is Pickles is in his own world. He's in his own world, doesn't talk to anybody, that it sounds like, and he believes that Test and them and Legacy are going to hold the entire South by themselves.
And Vinny was completely absent from the little SOTA they had as well, which is interesting.
Test can hold the entire South.
They're like, well, to make sure that we quote unquote win this war, we have to prevent Imperium from just moving right back in, right? Which makes sense. Hey, we're on here. That makes sense. But the idea of a group that's a third the size of us now holding 4 regions that we couldn't, haven't held yet, other than, our core home. Okay, you know what? Go ahead. It's fine. Go ahead and try it. But then in the Q&A, when someone asked him about that, Billy was much more realistic. He's like, we're going to expand, but we are going to lose space, guys. Like, it's going to happen. There's just no way we can hold all of this unless nobody attacks us. So he was much more realistic about it. PGL was just, I don't know what PGL is trying to do. PGL said that our alliance is burnt out because we've deployed SIGs and Inits deployed themselves, and yeah.
That isn't exactly the definition of burned out.
Yep. What was the other?
I'm just saying.
It was a lot of self-stroking, so. Well, I can't think of anything else specific.
I mean, that's like what they that's what Tess does. Like that's their thing.
So, I mean, in their little sodas and their little conversation, I mean, they coming for the rest of Delve. What's going on?
Well,
I mean, they say they are.
Yeah, some half bluff about the big bloody fights that are going to happen, considering that they're sino jamming everything to avoid said big bloody fights. But I think the Pappy Soda was a bit more realistic in what it said, given what I read in Rumour's article. So I really couldn't be asked to listen to the entire 2-hour recording.
Yeah, I was a little tired last night to listen to. I'll probably still listen to it at some point, but I don't think I've ever heard Gobbin's voice that I can remember. Maybe I have. But Gobbin's from the... Now, this is my recap of the recap. I do encourage you to listen to the real thing for yourself, but basically it sounded like they have a timeline of about 3 weeks to get into 1DQ. And if they don't get into 1DQ with the current strategy, they're going to try a different strategy.
Okay.
No. They're not going to try a different strategy. They're going to move on to the next phase.
What's the next phase?
Because you can't say that something didn't work. Like, you can't have Villy say, a part of their plan didn't work, because then that shows that they failed. So we're going to be moving on to the next phase.
And that
phases.
Mm-hmm. So theirs was much, from what we read, it was much more realistic and reasonable. I feel like those are reasonable goals, and they've openly said, like, our goals are very different from Test's expectation, which is unattainable. Gobbins even said there's no way, like, you can't make goons die or disappear on your own.
Can't make me.
But
sorry, I had to sneeze.
But goons define themselves by living in Delve.
Yeah, right?
Right? I thought that was the whole thing. Like, you remove goons from Delve and goons die because goons are Delve.
No, and I think Gobbins understands more about who we are, because I think his group is now starting to become very similar in that it's the group identity is with the people you fly with, not where you live or how you fly per se. Like, goons have changed over time, our strategies and tactics, but you can still see the core essence. Like, goons were known for, like, throwing rifters at people till things died, right?
Yeah, that's why Bob hated them so fucking much.
And you can see that in our Keepstar defense. Like, we were still willing to do that if that's what it took. It may not have been the most efficient option, but it was the option we had, and we did it, and we didn't shy from it. And that's, it's nice to see, like, core goons still to this day, behavior wise, within reason. You don't want everything. But let's see. And then they had, like, questions and stuff too, but I didn't get to hear any of those. We've had the CCP Fireside this week. And we've had a lot of battles, which were a lot of fun. I think Imperium won all of them, at least for the actual fight portion of it. But then, and the NOL Keepstar got jammed and refed yesterday. So if you got stuff in that Keepstar, I don't know what you're doing.
What?
The NOL Keepstars was refed yesterday.
That's terrible.
First reinforcement, right?
Yeah, the shield timer.
Alright.
So, but other than that, I only got to watch about half of your review of the Fireside. But later, like I talked about, like I don't feel like there was anything significant in that stream they had.
I mean, not
was
massively. There was hints that CCP, hints from Hilmar himself that CCP might be looking at changes to kind of make cloaky camping a little less kind of punitive. So people got excited / triggered about that.
Mm-hmm.
New sign and cloaky ship's done.
And honestly, they could do it a bad way or they could do it a good way. And the annoying thing is, everyone talks about like, oh, we could fix it using this, and it's like it's fucking kindergarten style, sort of like idea of fixing it, not actually addressing the full and proper issue.
Most people will say, here's an idea of something. It doesn't fix it all, but they just use it as an excuse to get a change they want. And they have no intention of fixing anything. They just want to try and force through a change that they want, regardless of what it actually does or doesn't fix.
I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting them to take some of those questions that may not be specific about like parts of the game, but like take questions of like how, like, I wanted to, did they answer this? Because I didn't see it. I watched an hour of the 90 minutes, so I missed out on the last 30 minutes of the show. But did they answer or like comment on the war at all? Like, how do they feel about it, or like what do they find exciting? Because that would have been at least interesting to hear. Like, what are they watching about? Because I know they are, and they do, and it'd be nice to hear just some comments from them. Like, oh, this is exactly what we were like looking forward towards the game, or, you know, like, this is a lot of fun, or, you know, we're learning a lot and we're going to apply some of the things we're learning in this giant war towards the game for future development. Anything, you know, that's what I wanted to hear some comments on.
I don't think there was that much of that. There was a lot of highbrow kind of high level conceptual kind of conversations with Hilmar. A couple of other things as well with you know, them saying that their shooter kind of game that they have been working on isn't dead. It's still going. It's still being worked on. So there's that. Basically, the Dust 514 reboot sort of thing. Project Nova, but under another name, obviously.
I just get the feeling it's going to be one of those games that by the time it comes out, whatever fad it was chasing has probably died and gone away again, just like the last time.
Yeah, like in 2 years' time, 60 people will be like, guys, we've released a like a PUBG style shooter. Like, that's gone. That's been gone for like 2 years or at least.
We're on to loot shooters now. Come on, guys, keep up.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected. You know, it's just like, you know that they don't play their own game.
The fact that you expected anything is probably the fatal mistake.
That's probably the problem. Is like, I don't know. I was hoping for something more than, you know, like talk. It you know, as a lot of people said, it felt like an investor meeting where it's like, our numbers are up. It is exciting that they had more people try the game for the first time, but their player was it percentage didn't change, like retention wise, or was it the actual like overall like number didn't change?
I'm not surprised because the game just has done nothing to try to gain new players. Like,
Dave, are you dying?
No, but yeah.
Is your popcorn done in the microwave?
He's flatlining.
That sounds like a fire alarm.
It is like, no worries. It's like literally, this is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It'll be fine. You'll be fine. Don't ignore the smoke.
I've had worse.
Well, you know, if you disappear
Kinda,
unceremoniously, we'll know what's happening.
yeah, they're going, oh, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. And like, you know, you'll retort to that as well. Was it dry ice? It's like, oh, okay. Like, it's not always dry ice, Dave.
No, it's worth it. Dinner. That's what that is.
It was interesting listening to you guys talk about cloaky camping, specifically about the emotional impact and how someone's got this delusional idea. It wasn't Matterall who's got this delusional idea that cloaky camping, or sorry, Blackout removed the threat of cloaky camping.
I had to tackle him on that. I had to tackle him on it.
It did not.
I know. I had to tackle him on it, and he clearly did not see or did not pick up on anything that I said in retort to that. Like, because he literally was like, "Oh yeah, but you know, now that
you can't see them, it's fine.
Now that it's universal, you can just ignore it." No, now that it's universal, it becomes massively like every single time that you're once it's ever present and constantly like stressing you out. That means that every single moment in the game when you're trying to make money, you're stressing. You're stressing out.
Yeah,
like,
no, and that's not
a nice gaming experience.
And you know, these are like wormhole people. Like, well, I live with it all the time. Like, no, no. There's a difference here. In a wormhole, you're gonna get like 30 dudes gangbanging you. In nullsec, you could get 200 dreads gangbanging you. So I'm just saying, like, there is a huge difference in what can kick your ass.
Can you say that one more time for us, Don? I'm not sure the audience caught that phrase. Okay.
No more clipping.
It doesn't have to, like that one guy in a system. Like, even if you're not ratting, if you're just like flying if you're like FCing a fleet, like that guy could seriously. Like,
he could be the Black Ops Rhino for the pipe bomb.
Yeah, he.
They
could if you're fighting or if there's somebody around in your area that's ballsy enough, right? That one dude who's been hanging out in that system for a long period of time could very well be, especially in a pipe system, in a system that you go through each and every day all the time, especially in fleets. Like, that guy could quite easily just light a Sino, like uncloak, light a Sino to bring in, a Falcon who lights a regular Sino that brings in a Titan that like literally pipe bombs, like either pipe bombs you or bosons like your entire fleet out of existence. Yeah. Like the capacity for just death and destruction from a single dude who just could be anything at any time is insane. Yeah.
So I put a picture up on the stream that
it's
my good friend Morden Mandar sent me last week. He's like, it's like CCP, like perfectly.
Pretty much. And don't get me wrong here. I want Eve to remain, dangerous, but there has to be like a mental break, or else you either get so stressed out, you leave to go to some place where you feel relaxed, or you get to have those like heart-pounding moments where like, oh, I'm happy-go-lucky warping around in my VNI. All of a sudden, 2 Garmers decloak around you, and now you get to have that like, oh god, there's a huge difference in that versus like, you're sitting in a colossal belt in your work wall, and you have a crazy man that lives in your region with 63 Black Ops Sino alts, one in every system, practically. And that if you put your excavators out, they're gone. There's a huge difference in those. Like, that's why you saw like carrier ratting stopped completely in that time period. VNI ratting was a fucking waste of time because 4 bombers and you're dead. What are you gonna do? Like, sometimes you get away, but it's pretty rare.
And it's funny. It's funny that people have been kind of looking at the MER graphs for this, for this month, and I think it was the Sinks and Faucets kind of graph that like literally shows like ratting ISK literally like taking.
Oh yeah, that came out. I don't think anyone's really had a ton. Like, I know that some people talked about it a little bit, but the MER came out yesterday, and you can see every single like on the graph over the years. You can see every single change they've made for like to the game that's been significant, going up and down. Mm-hmm. What's really scary is production is nosediving right now. Like, it's just like crashing hard, which means people aren't making things, which means I mean, I guess if you're CCP, you could take it a couple different ways, which could be, oh, there's less out in the game to use to make, so therefore we're doing our job. Or it's the other option of if people just aren't making shit because people are too, nervous to like buy shit.
Well, here's the thing, right? So if you're raising the cost of, and mineral prices were going through the roof, right? Intentionally based on those changes, right? So any good industrialist, right, who doesn't need a steady income, none of them need a steady income. They're going to say, well, we're just going to wait this phase out until CCP fixes it, and then minerals come down in price. Because if they make now, if they produce now, they're not guaranteed to get their ISK out later.
Yeah.
It's because CCP has to operate on the short run. They can't operate on the long run. So, in the short run, well, hey, I don't need to do that for a couple months. I'll take some time off. But what CCP doesn't understand is, guess what?
So what's interesting with the graphs is there's kind of an interesting too. If you look at products versus destroyed and the economic indices, there, tongue tied. It's funny you see the mineral price index spiking, obviously middle to late this year, right? We all know why.
Do you have the graph? Can you pull it up?
I don't have it. No. Oh, you're just going to link it? Yeah.
Let me chuck in stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that way we can kind of look at it. Yeah, also...
I'll chuck in chat.
CHORLDON, we do interact with chat. It's just that I'm not going to respond to every single message you guys put out there. We got shit to talk about.
I can't place it in chat because...
I only posted Moradin's message to me 10 minutes ago, right? All right. So, yeah, we can't interact with everybody.
Thank you, Brisk.
We are waiting for our weekly Brisk shower pictures. He has not sent them to us yet, so we're just patiently waiting.
Anyway, it's interesting that you see, obviously, the prices of minerals increasing like fucking crazy. There's that first increase, and then it sort of plateaus for a moment, and then it kind of goes back up again, middle to end of the year. You go to produced versus destroyed, and you go to the middle of 2020, May, June. What happens there? Just consistent, downward shift in most of that.
Yeah,
the only bump is October, November. In both, November, late October, November kind of sort of thing, with both produced and destroyed. And what is that? What was that mainly? That was mainly Delve. That was us basically throwing shitloads of stuff into keep star fights. That literally is, I'm fairly certain, is literally it. Obviously there's people who are probably building things elsewhere because they thought that they could bring that in and sort of sell it to goons.
Well, you see with the destruction, it's this huge jump.
Yeah,
from September to October, and then it's dwindling down. Yeah.
So what do you think that is? When you twin that up with an MRI material, mineral price, MPI, mineral price index, going through the fucking roof.
We're getting a CAT scan, guys.
People are fucking either people are mining stuff and hoarding stuff, or and or because they're not mutually exclusive, and or there's not as much mining going on as there was previously.
Yeah, but from a producer standpoint, right? If it's going to cost me 100 million ISK to produce a ship, but by the time I get it produced and get it out there and somebody actually buys it, CCP could adjust those mineral prices and drop them down again, and then I'm stuck holding the bag with 100 million ship that I can't sell for 50.
We got our picture.
Nice.
We didn't have to pay for it this time.
Nice.
I didn't know I wanted to see Brisk in the shower, but okay. Now I have.
Oh, there's more than one in chat. Sorry, guys. It's the staff chat. You can't see. Sorry. You just deal with us talking about it.
I think the fact that he has a beaming smile on his face means...
That is funny. That is funny, Brisk.
I think the fact that he's got a beaming smile on his face means that like Meta Show today is going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be a good
hope
show.
So. I mean, I am very curious to hear Mitten's reaction to all of the absolute bullshit. Now, like from test, as I said, PH's town hall, from what I read, sounded much more rational and reasonable. And you know, I said it on Thursday. I think that we could have had the most fun in this war if it had just been us versus Pan Fam and Co. And leave Test out because they're kind of like the ones ruining all the fun. They show up with a few fleets to just put a wrench in things, but Horde have been tenacious. NC is doing really well. PL, they're somewhere in there, I guess. But like those two specifically have been a lot of fun to fight. You know, they put up good numbers. They put up good fights, despite losing some, top tier FCs early in the game or early in the war.
I have a lot of respect for the actual groups and the individuals that are actually putting in like the hard graft rather than just taking the fucking praise and the glory. So yeah, I do respect Horde in that regard for sure. You know, this war.
They've been very active on Reddit, so they've been doing some pretty useful, but they've been doing stuff.
Reddit, I just stay away from there.
I've got my own fan club now. It's amazing.
It just depends on what it is, because like they get one thing done. There's like 10 posts, but of the same thing. But we do it too sometimes, so it's like. But it's more of like ironically now. It's like, well, you put 10, so we'll put 11. Okay. What was the other thing about the MER that was pretty start?
This one points out something about the net assets in Delve, like doubling since June. But what they'd failed to spot was there is less total exports this month than there was in June. The only reason the net exports has doubled is because the amount of imports has dropped dramatically. So they were trying to spin some narrative about us evacing, and like, there's less going out of Delve than there was before. What are you guys talking about?
Well, I mean, that includes fleets coming in and coming out, right?
I was gonna say, do you think that includes their fleets coming in? Because they have been putting down trillions of stuff.
Because, like, to be fair, I think like the June one probably would have had us coming back from Cloud Ring, wouldn't it? So you've got the tail of that, yeah. That's probably why the imports are down, but even then the exports were down as well. So it's like, well, we're obviously not evacing if less is going out. Like, clearly not evacing anywhere, are we?
Oh my god, now it's clicking. Okay. I was looking at this production versus destruction graph, and they have the mind, bar in there, and it has this sharp downward spike in 2019 from April-ish. It starts in March, and then it goes down, all the way till June, end of June, mid-June, and then it just chink straight up for July to August, and then goes back down. And I'm like, why is the mining, like, why were we mining? So I'm like, oh yeah, Tribute. But I thought Tribute was just like basically June. But I guess maybe for the prep for it and stuff, we just started maybe mining less, or maybe we got bored. I don't know. But I remember why it shot up so high, because everyone was like, get it in now, because you ain't mining later.
Yeah.
And then we blew through it and we're like, oh, this is done in a month. Okay, back.
Yeah, and then it just crashes.
And then people were like, why did we have to mine so much? Like, if this only lasted a month, like, I'm just going to chill out now. Like, and it just carried on at that sort of level prior to the big spike.
And you can see destruction just tanked in October to its lowest, one of its. Oh my god, we're at blackout numbers for destruction right now. Do you see that?
Yeah, actually, that's fucking true.
I just it just clicked for me. Or no, sorry, production, not destruction. Destruction's not changed this entire fucking time. It's gone up and down a little bit based upon the war, but of all the things they're trying, it hasn't changed. So they're not increasing activity.
It is trending down towards towards blackout kind of
It is getting down there, but like the amount of trillions destroyed has not changed. The only thing that's changed is they're bringing down production. I don't know if that's the goal, but you know, I'm not a numbers person, okay? So like, I could be reading everything wrong or thinking the wrong causality.
It's you only come to the wrong assumptions if you're reading the data wrong, if you're reading the graph wrong. And trust me, a lot of people do.
Well, it's easy to.
Yeah, and different things mean different stuff. I mean, when I like to watch Eve offline, right, a lot, and the numbers have been trending downward for the last couple months again, right? You had a peak in October of players, and since then you're on a downward trend for the year, right?
Yeah.
There, you can only play so much Eve and put up with so much stuff before you decide to. Your lows are trending significantly lower in November and December than previous months in the previous 2 quarters. So when you look at that, you got to say, what?
Because amazingly,
what has changed in the last 2-3 months, right?
Amazingly, people putting in shit tons of hours in Eve has a knock-on effect of them kind of like chilling out for extended periods of time, more so than they would have done normally. So
yeah. Traditionally,
it makes sense.
Yeah. Traditionally, your annual dip is pre-October, right? August, and then it builds up in through January. It's generally an upward trend in January, and what you're really seeing is kind of an opposite in 2020 here. Your low dip was not in your normal place, and your low dip is happening now.
Summer.
And it's significant compared to the rest of the year. So when you look at that, right, what is CCP doing? What has CCP done that is now finally affecting some numbers, right? And then you look at those production stats being down, mineral prices being up. Maybe they're just not logging in those characters anymore to do some production. And how does that affect you?
When your financial kind of incentives to, well, not financial incentives, when your regular finances coming into the game, like when your regular sort of like money making comes into the game, hasn't really changed that much, right? Or may have reduced slightly, for some of the people in Sovnol, like who are like dealing with the changes to bounty, to the bounty rates and all that kind of stuff. When that kind of stuff happens, but the prices of ships and stuff increase, like you find situations where people are less likely or less willing to undock ships because they're more expensive and they're harder to replace.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that what does that generally tend to turn into? It turns into people not engaging with activities, engaging with people, with basically even if it's solo activities, not engaging with solo activities because of fear of losing, something that they can't replace or they find difficult to replace. And when you're not engaging with the I hate the word content in this regard, but like when they're not engaging with the content that CCP is putting out there for people to play or try, or the environment for people to play in, then they'll find interesting, things made by other people to go and try, like Cyberpunk. Even though Cyberpunk on certain things is probably a bad idea, they'll find other things. That's the point that I'm making is.
I'm looking at the key economic figures.
They'll follow the path of least resistance.
And mining in Delve crashed too, but so did Esoteria's. So clearly both sides are busy. What was the other thing? Honestly though, the NPC bounties number is on par with almost the entire rest of the game. It's 600 billion, and in November, it wasn't split yet with Pappy trying to mine their ADMs as much. I think they didn't really start that hardcore until December. But if you look, Lone Trek is 700 billion, Metropolis 800 billion, Citadel 400 billion, Where's Esoteria on here? Esoteria is 900 billion, and they're not, they're not getting invaded the same way we are, and yet we still got 600 billion, So, like, the ratting in Delve really hasn't changed comparatively to the rest of the game. It's about on par with a lot of the other regions. Now, is it awful compared to what it used to be? Yeah, but that's kind of seems to be the goal. And then we are still the second highest producer in the game, besides Jita. And then the next one after that is Lone Trek, Sync Liaison, and Domain. And the Citadel. So the numbers, while everything's overall low, it's really not actually like that bad comparatively to what like the rest of the game's doing right now.
Yeah, I've noticed that almost every month in this war we've been consistently churning out double-digit trillions of production in Delve. That's been fairly consistent throughout the entire last 5 months.
But how can that be, Dave? We don't have any more material.
Yes,
We've run through all of our stocks, all our ore.
Well, of course we have. Sure we have. Uh-huh.
We've been evacing trillions per month, yet apparently we're poor, but I don't know. But we're trillions to evac every month. I just don't.
I've realised.
Make sense.
I've realised what it is.
What is it?
Hilmar's a secret goon, and he's actually just been he's been spawning in all the ore for us to build stuff. Oh my god!
Okay, so I linked the.
Are you trying to make me quit goons? Is that what you're trying to do? I mean, seriously? Is that what you're doing?
No, I basically wanted to trump every other fucking conspiracy theory out there.
Oh, you did. You did just now.
Eric, I posted the top 8 sinks and faucets over time, and it's pretty crazy. Like, if you look at it, you can see where Blackout hit. There's this huge, dip in the graph.
It's fucking crater.
Holy shit!
And then look on the right side where we're at now, and it's kunk. God.
About that graph is the way that the bounty prizes and incursions switch in the last month.
And incursions is like, woo!
Yeah, incursions like, woo!
No, through the roof.
I wonder what's going on there.
What?
Incursion nerf incoming, I bet.
No, soon.
Probably.
Can't have people making that amount of money.
We've gone back 7 years.
Incursions are the new hotness, yeah. We're back 7 years.
Now,
incursions are making that much considering there's a third of the amount of spawns that were 7 years ago. In high
I like that. I like that little jump in insurance there. Do you see that? That little jump right there in October, November, where we had our Keepstar fights?
Little digit.
Dear God. It just like bounty, it's not like a slow decline. It just.
Yep.
Dead. Oh my God. No wonder they changed the ESS thinking, do you think the change that they made to the ESS is going to be effective?
I mean, that depends on what the result that you're looking for.
We'll find out if it goes up or not. I don't have much hope.
We shall see.
The one thing which concerns me about this, right, is the blackout kind of came and went. I'm not sure how these changes are going to come and go, bearing in mind that these changes are meant to be a sea change for the foreseeable future of the entire game. It's meant
remember,
to be
McLeod. Remember, people. The excuse for why the blackout wasn't successful is because people knew that it wasn't permanent, and so they were willing to just wait it out.
Oh, yes.
These changes are permanent, from what we know. We know that they are modifiable because they've done it. We know that they're willing to work with it, but they have no plan to take the ESS away, which honestly, I like it. It's a fun place. It's a fun area. I don't know, but I actually enjoy the ESS fighting. It's, it really is a good time. It's just, I don't get to do it as much as I'd like because I'm currently trying to save my home.
it's a interesting set of mechanics, and it's a set of mechanics that I feel do have a place in Eve. Like, you know, if I'm going to come out from a sort of a move away from the sort of, you know, quality of life player experience, the, you know, sort of perspective, and look at it from a, you know, long-term game sort of survivability sort of thing. Like these mechanics do have you know, reason to exist in the game, good reason to exist in the game. The only issue here is, as has been kind of the case with the CCP for, you know, the past few months or past 6 months kind of thing or so, is, you know, yeah, that's a lot of that unfortunately translates to people's real world, or to people's sort of like a gameplay, as a massive stick. Well, in order for people to kind of weather themselves through it, they kind of need a little bit of incentive as well. And that veiled incentive of, oh yeah, but you know, the 160% payout in sort of contestable areas.
But if you die,
that's your carrot. Well, it's not a carrot. It's basically like putting a carrot inside a mob that's going to beat the living crap out of you. Like,
yeah, putting the carrot on a bear trap. You're like, it's fine.
Exactly.
You'll get a carrot.
Yeah, you'll get a carrot. You'll just bleed out. That's all. Yeah, you'll get the carrot, but you'll bleed out in the process. Like,
no,
that's great. Congratulations, CCP.
We were talking about that earlier. You know, as I said, I like the actual ESS mechanic area, like in that, like the bubble and the site, and it's something that gives a place in nullsec for, you know, like for people to fight in specific ship types. That's great and fine, and I love it. Because there's tons of different ways to deal with it. You know, you can either stay on the outside, you can go inside, you can cloak up inside, you could, you know, bait people into it, you know, hiding with recons. It's fun. It's a good time for most everybody, and it challenges you to try new things.
As also Sothrasil showed in a picture previously in the previous weeks, like the carrot was not. Oh,
the dildo carrot.
Yeah, the carrot was not what the carrot was meant to. What we initially thought.
Yeah. So, but we were talking about it and said, okay, let's say you're in a system that has 180% bounty adjustment, right? And that's so in Delve E3, the gate camp area has a bounty adjustment of almost 180. It's like 170 or something right now. And I asked them, I was like, okay, so I know people are ratting in here because the bounty numbers are higher. Like, I know that. How often do they die? And they're like, every single day somebody dies. Well, how much ratting did you have to do to replace just your ship? There's a huge like, just because I now make 20 million per tick instead of 10 million per tick, that only just cuts the time on how long it takes to pay for my ship in half. And if you've got to use, let's say, 100 million a ship, you know, you got to rat potentially 5 hours, and in that 5 hours, you have a very high chance of Lokis and bombers murdering you.
Yeah, so on a long enough timeline, in actual fact, what happens is you're actually ISK negative comparatively,
or equal, you know, or it's not gaining
with all the you know, with a whole bunch more effort involved.
So it's like the increase in bounty is nice. It's just like the reasoning why. Like, I get it, but it's semi-unrealistic in the long run. Like, it's just not gonna, like, work out. People just know, okay, that's the shitty area to go. I don't want to go there.
Hey, I'm sorry I had to step away a little bit there.
Oh, we're just bitching about bounties and shit.
I could just smell fresh pizzelles, so, you know, sorry.
You had to investigate.
They're really good.
Oh.
Probably can hear me crunching.
Now, here's an idea. Mm-hmm. So the ESS originally was for LP, on top of a slight increase in bounty. What if instead of this bounty thing with the ESS, which makes the ratters feel like their money's just going off into the wind.
Mm-hmm.
What if they added it that you got LP instead? Like an LP number, and that you could steal the LP. And they still got their bounties.
Yeah, why not?
I'm just wondering if that would make it feel it's like faction war. I mean, I've never done faction warfare, but I know you get LP for faction warfare. Like, is getting a bunch of LP too dangerous for the economy? I don't know.
There's still a massive part of the ESS that has yet to come into
the
form and
reserve
function,
banks.
which is the reserve bank, which is going to be a massive like fucking like gold rush for people, jumping in and dunking on various different nullsec pockets.
That's not going to happen. The nullsec entities are going to pay for their keys and take the money for their SRP program. So,
Oh yeah, okay. Let me just sort of. I'm going to make an assumption that CCP is going to introduce the keys in ways that are somewhat culturally and sociologically unlikely for nullsec players to like basically find them and pick them up.
yeah, I mean, for most regions, I don't know. And you know what, Grey Wolf, you are correct. I am basing it on ESS that's in the middle of a war, but I know what Delve is like pre-war and current war. I know what would happen. The bounty modifier in 1DQ would be super high. This is if we were not at war. It would be 180% like it is now. And all you'd have is Headhunter Jacks murdering ratters in there over and over and over and over again. Like he already did.
There you go.
It would not change anything other than more people die. And people still not getting their money. Like, guys, I've been doing Theta for 3 years. I know what it's like to live in Delve. Yes, and Mad Cows would be there too, murdering you as well. So, yeah, like, I may be bringing up that I could have said 1DQ, and I could have said back in July of whatever not. Before the war started, it would have just been just as awful. So,
McLeod, here's where I let you know that Mrs. Asmock's Pizzelles vanilla this time are just as good as her biscottis. So she's doing pretty good.
well, that's good.
This is her first
crazy
attempt at Pizzelles.
Are we on the food portion now?
We can do whatever we want. No, keep talking to Eve if you want. I'm just saying I had a fresh, warm pizzelle because they smelled so good. I have had. By the way,
import is going to be that fresh and still warm.
Probably not.
Highly
No.
doubt that.
No, but I have had pizzelles in beer at least at one point in my life, and it really depends on the beer. Maybe a milk stout goes okay with them, but I wouldn't put like a pilsner with them or anything like that. But yeah, I think she is going to try and send you.
I think she should.
We'll just send them around. We'll send them around. My Verizon person just sent us a bunch of stuff that was just delivered for the holidays, so I might have a couple of Verizon phones.
When I worked at the vet office when I was in high school, I have a degree in zoology, guys, so we'll just put that out there now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of good it does me, but I have it. So, I worked at the vet office for 2 years in high school, and let me tell you, it's like it was a small family-owned practice, and the people that are regular clients sent us a shit ton of food and snacks and candies for Christmas. Like the 2 Christmases I was there, like this one person always sent these delicious chocolate truffles, and then we'd have like boxes of chocolate covered cookies, moose munch, moose
munch, yummy.
And then like tons of pretzels and just candy bars. It was just like, and it wasn't like one small little tray. Like there were like 15 to 20 trays of cookies, and we were just like in the back just chomping down on them for weeks.
So, I mean, we're back in lockdown where I live, right? So last Friday night was the last night before lockdown. We went out for a really good steak dinner. And I'm really sad because when we were there, they sell little boxes of 4 truffles that the pastry chef makes at this location. Okay, and they're handmade truffles, and the owner of the establishments, buys all the ingredients, and the pastry chef donates all the time, and they use it to put, clothes for newborn babies over the holidays that are new, that need them. So it's pretty cool. But we missed doing it, so I got to call them and see if they've got any. And that's my bat phone going, so I'm going to go real quick.
We had so the chocolate truffles I'm talking about. Bat phone. Oh dear Lord!
I'm not I don't think it's an Eve-related bat phone, but yeah.
The chocolate truffles that they got were they were covered in like a cocoa powder on the outside, so like you'd like pick them up and have little bits of chocolate on your hand. It's so good. I miss those. I don't remember the brand, so I can like find them again. But
and make them at home for nothing.
And then my parents made keflies this week, which is that Polish Christmas cookie I brought up a couple weeks ago. And it's a 2-day process because you have to like freeze the dough or like let the dough chill for a while before rolling them out. And then like you've got to have they had 4 people working on them. It was pretty funny. We also have a recipe for microwave caramel corn. And it is to die for. What? Caramel corn.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Like, it requires 200 shakes. You have to shake the container 200 times in various patterns to evenly coat every kernel. They have a pattern.
There, Dawn.
No, they have a pattern. You have to do it in front, and then to your side, and then to your other side, and then above your head, and then down below, so you can make sure the caramel goes around on every single piece of popcorn.
Have you considered recording this as a dance and putting it on TikTok, by any chance?
It would be too long. And like my parents' original microwave, or previous microwave before they moved, would overheat because of how many times you had to you'd have to microwave the whole concoction for 10 minutes of to make the caramel, and then you'd have to put it on the popcorn, shake, put it in the microwave, and then cook it or heat it up for a minute, and then another minute, and then take it out, shake, put it in for a minute. You had to do that 6 times, and it would get minute, and then 30 seconds to keep it warm while you're coating things so it didn't get stuck on too much. It's crazy.
I was gonna say that sounds like that kind of sounds a little bit like at the end of it, it's gonna be insanely hot, and you would have to wait and sort of wait for it to fucking cool down before you can even go even consider touching it. But I guess it doesn't get that hot. You just have to keep it consistently warm.
So I came in the middle of that conversation, and have any of you seen the movie The Woman in Red?
You're gonna have to give us a TLDR.
When you say The Woman in Red, I just think of this really one weird scene from some Russian movie of some chick in the red dress, and she takes her panties off. He uses them as a scrunchie when playing pool, and that's I don't know what movie.
I remember that scene. I can't place that movie. That is hilarious.
You remember that where she gets on the guy in the rocking chair afterwards or something?
Yeah, the Woman in Red is a Gene Wilder movie. To put it right there, yes, Gander, very good. And he's in an ad agency, and they hire this woman to model for something. It's not Pretty Woman, but and there's this scene where Gene Wilder's, I think one of his assistants, is describing to his brother how to clean the lens of a camera, like a 35 millimeter camera. And it sounds so off color that it's hilarious. And you come into the middle of your conversation, it was boom. It's what are they talking about? Because this could be really risque, or it could be just something completely normal.
I know it's not.
Pretty Woman is a different actor, guys. Gene Wilder is not in Pretty Woman. But yes, so yeah, whatever you guys are kind of I was laughing. Sorry to derail the conversation.
one Gene Wilder film. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So I'm trying to imagine that scene somewhere in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, it's really not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, which he was just creepy enough in that. He really
Just creepy enough?
Yeah.
The fuck are you talking about?
Gene Wilder and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
he was super creepy.
He was super terrifying.
Well, that's what I mean.
He was a homicidal maniac.
He was, but I mean, he was, but he wasn't. You know, I mean, when he was drinking out of the little, flower
like 6
tea,
of the kids died, or
didn't die.
Potentially. Okay, Baruka went down to a furnace.
I'm sorry, but do you collectively have, like Eric, have you forgotten the tunnel scene?
Okay, so clearly that was an LSD trip. Okay,
yeah, I mean,
in a kids' film.
But he played that role perfectly, though.
He did.
I feel like a recluse that makes cameos.
Well, when what's his name, Johnny Depp did the redo, he was just too weird, right? Gene Wilder
he chose a different way to do it, but I feel like Johnny would his version of Willie, which was kind of off the wall, would have done better if Tim Burton hadn't been the director of the movie, because the stylization was just too much.
Isn't that one Tim Burton movie where his wife wasn't in?
Yeah, no, Helena Bonham Carter was in it.
So is she? Gee, she like gets into every one of his movies.
I think she was. Maybe she wasn't. But there are still some things, like there's still some gems in that movie, but like there's still some, like most of it was trash. So also Grey Wolf, the ESS being 180% isn't so you can rat while you PvP is happening. Do you live in Nullsec? That's what I want to know.
It seems that Grey Wolf seems to think that, like, PvP happens in a system like once and then it's clear,
and then it's gone for a while, right? Or it's clear for a couple hours or something. No, not in Delve. In Delve, it never leaves. It's there forever. We have the ever-present pressure of somebody ready to kill you with ships you cannot stop from killing you, and it's up what you decide. Okay, this is the best ship I could throw out there that probably won't die. Why do you think we all read it in supers? It's not necessarily because we liked using them. It's because it was the best option to not die in under 30 seconds for a long time.
All right, I'm gonna give everybody a heads up. So in about 20 minutes or so, for the last 40 minutes, we'll save for the holiday stuff. How about that?
Oh my fucking God! Right,
so we'll do the last 40 minutes to show holiday stuff. Like we promised last week, we gotta have some holiday stuff. We've been we've been hard on, man, for the Eve stuff, man.
Well, cool. And then Command A's is talking in chat or whatever over here, but he's not coming on, which I'm sad about. He was my original CEO.
Commander A's?
Yeah. He is the whole reason why you guys have to deal with me. Because
I wouldn't really call it dealing with you.
That's cool, dude.
You're just like...
No, so...
we don't have people on the show we have to deal with.
You brought this high-sec puppy into good.
And I've never left that mentality.
There you go.
You never... It's, I'm sorry, I like to have fun in my video games, I don't always want to have the ever-present danger of somebody murdering me. That's not what I consider fun. But, it's part of the game. So...
I literally like it's now become the conversation with the Grey Wolf in chat has now become cyclic in sort of in motion now, because
I guarantee
I literally said previously it's not about it's not about risk.
You can die in Minecraft too. That's why I don't like Minecraft.
It's not about risking stuff, it's about the reward being being worth the risk. And so we're now back with you means you have to risk something. Welcome to Eve. Welcome back to the cyclic nature of the conversation with Grey Wolf. For fuck's sake.
I know. My God.
It's like arguing with a child.
I guarantee that.
I speak experience.
He's got to be a wormholer.
Sorry about that little chirp in there. I had to, recycle the doorbell. Okay. We had to move. Yeah, we had to change the theme.
But Eric, you don't have a doorbell anymore. You've recycled it.
No. I just had to change the scene. Cycle, change it. It has to reload. Yeah, so we have a Nest doorbell, right? So I had to change the theme from the Hanukkah theme to the Christmas theme because we moved on holidays here at the old household. Okay. So yeah, so when people don't ring the doorbell, it doesn't go dreidel, 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 anymore. So.
Or whatever it is.
What's your Easter doorbell theme?
Whatever. So this is super weird. I don't understand this about Nest. Okay, so clearly we can make that doorbell chime whatever we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have that built into it. They only allow themes at certain times a year. So, like, a couple weeks here after Christmas, there'll be no more doorbell themes. They'll just go away, and the doorbell just rings like normal. Why can't I have a theme all year long? Nest, Google.
Put in your comment or put a sternly worded review online. That's gonna work.
Yeah, that works.
Let's see what else.
Maybe when Sergi was in charge, that would work. But this is a new dude. Who knows? All right.
So many messages today.
Are you able to put death metal like songs on when it's the Dia de los Muertos?
No, I mean there's no. It's not like that.
Are these international
thing?
Or?
I mean, I'll go in here. I don't know if it lets me play them, but so you go to settings, right? You come into the front door where the thing is. You got all the funny things because it does voice recognition, all that bullshit, right? So it says, doorbell theme. And I can choose Hanukkah, New Year's Eve, Christmas, Kwanzaa, or winter. I don't think it doesn't let you play them like on your phone. You have to go out and ring the doorbell.
That's
very strange.
That's so weird.
Or you have the default ding dong, right? So it has a little section. Let's see, anything on here that is, it just seasonal themes only happen when they're seasonal, right? So, yeah. What is it? I mean, there's so many cool things they could do all the time. At Halloween, they let you have witches and ghosts and things like that, but yeah. They really need to be more open.
Well, before we get to the Christmas stuff, is there anything else from this week that was like...
there's one thing from this week, which was... Well, actually, there's a few things from this week that are fucking awesome, in actual fact. This isn't really... Is this, like, last things? This is last things, is it? Like... We're not at that point. Okay,
before we get to Eric's thing that he wants to do.
Yeah, last things will be last things.
I will choose one of those things to talk about, and I'll go with the other one, which is basically on Tuesday. Where is it? On Tuesday, there was a scientific paper that came out, basically saying that scientists have been able to use quantum entanglement to send data through from one place to another at a 90% accuracy rate. They basically created, they basically were able to transfer data from one place to another without it having literal actual connected wires, but using pairs of
do they think real hard
entangled protons, I think.
Isn't that kind of like Wi-Fi?
No, because Wi-Fi takes a while to get there. This is instant. This is instant wherever you are. This is instant whether you're in a different solar system. This is instant whether you're in a different galaxy. This literally is like...
So we compare this with TCP, and then we can we can raise that 90%. That 90% will be rookie numbers, because we can just instantly retransmit the packets right?
Yeah.
Get it 100%.
Can we make an Amazon quantum service where like Eric can ship packages immediately across space without actually having to?
That would be like beaming them.
Here you go.
So this is
by the way to the audience.
Partners.
Please remember in these last few days for Christmas, if you're receiving packages, not only from Amazon but FedEx and UPS, all the others, DHL, any of them, put a little thing out on your front porch. Some water, some snacks. Those drivers really like that. It's hard for them to keep up and keep nourished and drinking.
Slate drive them. Crack the whip.
Quick, no,
So,
it's true. They love it, and they take pictures of it, and they send it back, and they share it with their other drivers to make them jealous. So, I mean, we have like a freaking smorgasbord out our front door. So, I don't even know if we're getting deliveries today. I think Mrs. Eric.
I don't know about instant delivery of physical goods, but instant delivery of like information.
Yeah,
is basically what this thing does.
Well, that's really more of an AWS service that they might do. And maybe it can have a giant outage like US East did a couple weeks ago.
I mean, what this basically means is, when you have latency when playing games and stuff, like this would literally be like you're playing right next to the server.
No, so this reminds me of I don't remember what year they did it in, but they were just testing out the new like internet services in a rural country, and they strapped a USB port to a carrier pigeon and sent it off, and then tried to connect to this from one computer to the other in the same locations. It was like 5 or 6 hours away, and the pigeon beat the computer.
In terms of transferring the data.
Of transferring the data.
I mean, the crazy thing is...
It's funny.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, for some like huge companies, and Eric will know this, like, because he's probably had to deal with it to some degree. For some huge companies that have large servers of lots of data, right? Mm-hmm. You have like, especially when you're making like significant backups, you have these services where like you don't transfer the data; they take the storage to your place because it will take far too long to transfer it. They literally drive a truck with racks of storage, of data storage, and they literally connect it hardwired to your stuff and transfer it over, rather than you sending it through the internet and something.
I have seen them set up a new SAN storage device. So for those that don't matter, basically a refrigerator of hard drives, mirror them, right? Pull all the hot swappable drives out of the one SAN server, right? SAN service, like various companies have them, Hitachi, everybody. Throw them on a truck, just like you said, pack those things away and drive them across the country. Throw them in a SAN storage and mirror them again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
because
now one of the developments for like databases in particular that are that large, right? They have devices now that sit on the network, and basically you make your first backup when the database is empty, and then as you load it, with data, if you've got it in like a logging mode where it logs the changes, right? Instead of making a backup over and over and over, like every night, every week, every month, all those type of things, it just streams the changes to the original backup in the storage device, and the original backup just turns the little turns the data blocks, right? And you always have a recoverable backup, but streaming all day long.
Yeah, you're not sort of deleting and replacing all of that data. Like you're just replacing the data that's changed.
Yep. Stream change blocks.
Has this graph always been in the MER, the total money supply? I didn't know that there was 1.4 quadrillion money available in the game.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's always been there. And
that's of active characters, might I add here. That's not like the inactive characters that have been gone for a while or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's active. That's
quadrillion.
People who have...
That's why there's that big dip in blackout time, is because the people were no longer active because they're not subbed anymore.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be why. Okay.
I think it's not subbed. I think it's just people who have had activity on their account
In that,
the last
what,
30
last
days or
30
something.
days?
Right.
Something along those lines. So it dips when when someone goes inactive for more than a certain set period of days, and they just go, well, that ISK is not really in circulation, so bye bye.
Certainly, kind of how it's dipping right now.
Sorry, I just happened to look at that graph. I'm like, I don't remember seeing this at all, but 1.4 quadrillion. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's the graph they cited very specifically when they were worried about all the, the ratting and the super ratting and all that stuff. They can't sustain generating ISK into the system without taking it out. And the real thing becomes, right, so right now CCP's been turning the knobs on the inflow of the ISK. They haven't really turned the knobs on the outflow of ISK.
Are you like wanting them to like take more of my money away with me doing nothing? Like,
no. What he's trying to say is like they're finding ways of getting your ISK away from you, but they haven't actually like added sort of more ISK to it.
So, well, no, what I'm saying is they've been working on the inflow, the input of ISK to the game, right?
Oh, okay, my bad.
But when you look at systems like financial systems, right, where the amount of money expands, right, the only way to take money out of a system is essentially taxation through the government, right, to pull that money out of money supplies in countries.
Well, even that is still technically somewhere, because that's going still back into the economy to pay somebody for products or services, which can then get rotated.
Not always, because if you use it to pay down the bonds that put the money into the system, then it goes away.
Well, that
right?
money, no,
that's
well,
why
that money's
that's
still
why the
going
Fed,
somewhere, right?
No, that's why the Fed has it, right? The Fed creates money. So that's when they talk about putting cash into the economy, right? So the Fed says, well, U.S. government, I'm going to give you $100 million that never existed before against X assets, right? So you increase the money supply.
It's borrowing from the
right?
air, and then
so
and
you
then
have a debt there, and that's when you talk about the debt, right? So if they pay off the debt, the money disappears, and it constricts the cash in the game, right? So if
in Eve, like it literally just disappears, like it goes nowhere.
Well, there's two ways that it goes nowhere, right? Is if they catch, when they catch somebody who's been, selling ISK on the black market, right? They confiscate all that and it disappears out of the economy, right? But giving people something to spend their ISK on that gives them something in the game that doesn't actually increase the ISK in the game. So, let's say you let me buy skins with ISK, right?
The ISK disappears, potentially.
And a skin comes in. But the skin doesn't add cash, right? It would be pulling ISK out of the system. Right?
I don't know why they don't do that.
They want an ISK
sync. That's an ISK sync.
Well, they want to show revenue, right? So what they really want you to do is they want you to buy Plesk with your ISK and then pay them Plex but it really doesn't take the ISK out of the market. See what I'm saying? So they need to figure out ISK sinks that people don't feel like are ISK sinks, right? And they need to pull money out rather, because the money that's in the market is the money that's in the market, right? You had people logging in that haven't played the game forever, giving goons ships and money and all kinds of things, right? In the game. So they've given them ISK.
Injection of cash.
Right. So that's a huge injection of cash that's now back active in the system without even ratting. Right. So, but they don't have anything in there. So, one of the things that would have been smart is if, they made you make more money with SOV, but SOV cost more to maintain, right? That's one way to take it out. There's a lot of ways to do this, right? The thing is, if you're going to let people make money, you got to be able to take the money out of the system. You can't just create money out of nowhere, which bounties do, right? You kill something, but it doesn't really destroy anything, does it?
So does insurance. I mean, insurance is a small portion of it, but
Yep.
I mean, that still creates cash that didn't exist. Like, you put a little bit out there, and there's always that chance you lose it. It's a gamble. Like, if you don't die, you're going to lose that insurance money into the void that is CCP. But on average, usually, if you're insuring your ship, you're expecting to die. And so you get a little bit of cash back.
Right, and it's a delicate game to balance that, right? Because, why would you rat more if you were losing more, right? It's that delicate balance that CCP has to play. But they left it go so long for so many years that they make it, most companies constrict the influx. Go ahead.
So the funny thing is, the interesting kind of funny thing about that is, when we're talking about ratting and we're talking about fighting, predominantly when we talk about these things, we consider those two things to be completely separate and using completely different, ships and completely different fits. I think the ideal that CCP kind of wants to get to is that you use the same ships to fight as you do making money. So, in that situation where you're making money, you're always at a fit state to fight someone in some way, shape, or form. The problem with that is the way that people make money in this game. It was at a point where if you used a ship that was, fit for fighting somebody in space, you didn't make enough money for it to be worthwhile doing. And conversely, the other issue is, if you're out there in space doing something and someone sees you in a cloaky ship, and they have all the intel tools to be able to see that you fly in a fighting ship, or that you rat in a fighting ship. Sorry, they'll likely be able to see your losses and be able to know what you're using and be able to counter you a lot better. So there's a bunch of connected systems and a bunch of connected kind of resources that need to get changed as well for the entire system to be kind of more easily massaged into a better place. It's not just a case of, we're just going to change one or two things and it should be fine and people should just harden the fuck up. Like, it's not that. Like, it's a more complicated system. It's a more complicated thing. And the issue that I had way the fuck back when Rotati wasn't even, like, when the department that Rotati is in charge of didn't even exist. And I said that, like, CCP needs to hire an ecologist. I said an ecologist. I didn't mean an ecology manager. Because there is a fundamental difference between that. Like, someone who just manages an ecological or like the ecology of a place needs to know how that place is constructed, how that place functions, how that place is interconnected with other things, before he can make worthwhile, non-damaging changes to it for the better. If you just come in with no academic aspect of how it's all interconnected, how it all kind of relates to each other and how it affects each other, then you'll come in, you'll go, oh, this needs to happen, that needs to happen, we'll just turn this knob, dial this thing down, back, add this little thing, etc., add a little, add a new species to the ecosystem, it will be fine. What's the worst that could happen? Well, things die out, things end up becoming extinct if you don't know if you haven't done the academic research to make sure that what you're about to do isn't going to be like damaging in the short term and the long term.
And to add on to that, I kind of think where CCP is they're dialing the knob and looking at the results and hoping that they correctly interpret the resulting data, which we know their history of doing that. I think that's what they're doing. I don't know what you think.
Was it Christmas time?
It's Christmas time. Who wants to start us? Who wants to start us?
Blackout, right?
Yes, it is. They thought that would be wonderfully accepted by the people.
Oh, we'll just change some stuff,
And the people went,
adapt.
ding, thanks for playing.
We have our limits.
So, so yeah, we did promise everybody a little bit of, kind of what we each of us do kind of Christmas time, things we like, things from our past, things that make the holiday, right? Because this holiday isn't going to be like that, right? For much of us all over the world. So we wanted to share, right? So, and some of the things. And if you guys don't want to start, I'll start. You guys can start. I don't really care. We'll back and forth on different things. But go ahead, Dawn. You're going to start. Let's go.
Yep. So Christmas traditions for my family, one of the biggest ones is we always have Chinese food for Christmas every year. That is our
weirdos.
Okay.
That is,
oh yeah, fair enough.
No, and we go. So normally we'll go to PF Chang's, which is like the fancier Chinese place around us. They're good, and we get a reservation. And the reason why is, when I was little, my mom and them would cook for Thanksgiving, but by the time Christmas rolled around, they were like tired of cooking for parties and holidays, and so they would get Chinese food for and the only places open on Christmas Eve are Chinese food places and pizza places. So they got pizza for us kids and then Chinese food for them. But then all of us started liking Chinese food pretty quickly. So then we started ordering it. And then at some point we were like, let's make this fancier. So then we started going to P.F. Chang's.
The weirdest thing about that is a few years ago, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, he had a severe leak, like a water leak in our house, and it literally we had to cut power, everything like that, and basically this was Christmas Day. This was literally sort of 4 a.m. Christmas Day, and it was so ridiculous. We had to we were wading in water basically downstairs.
Wow.
It was that bad kind of thing, and I was there I was there flicking the switch on flicking the breaker on the main power inlet for the house, with water streaming down that outlet. That's how fucking bad it was.
Oh, jeez.
It was fucking dangerous, man. And so that was probably the one Christmas that I ever had that I was that the sort of Christmas food wise was a pizza, which is really odd.
We just decided that with all the different family Christmases and stuff, that it was just, my mom didn't want to do dishes, she didn't want to cook, and fuck if I'm going to turn down Chinese food. So it just has always been a thing for us. We do that on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, we still have the normal Christmas meal. Usually would be at my aunt's house or my grandparents' house. So it's not like we didn't have it. It's just it became our thing to do Chinese food on Christmas.
The weird thing is,
you and all the other Jewish families, I'm telling you.
No, there are a ton of people there. So a lot of people.
They're all Jewish, trust me.
So the weird thing is, in Japan, they eat KFC
they eat KFC.
Yeah, KFC's huge.
Yeah,
I remember when I went to Japan.
It's ritual. It's almost ritual. Maybe not ritualistic when it comes to Japanese rituals, but it's become a thing now that they eat fried chicken.
It's hard to get. It's in demand. People place orders for it. They place orders for turkeys and stuff. Yeah, KFC. Yeah, no, it's very Asian. It's amazing. Yeah, that's wild. So what would you have on the what's your traditional Christmas dinner, Don?
Well, being Polish, it is ham and Polish sausage,
potatoes,
and then potatoes and every type of white bread, and it's got to be plain white bread. Very few green bean casserole would be the most green thing. We don't have salads. And then corn, 1 or 2 types of potatoes. Maybe you'll get some beans in there, like baked beans or something. stuffing. Every starch you can meat and starch. That's
Meat and
basically
starch. Meat and starch.
which is like I don't know. It's basically like take half of Thanksgiving and just like slop it into.
Sausages and cold salad.
But
in Germany.
you gotta have the honey baked ham or the roasted ham.
There you go.
Honestly, the
You
way
just
that
have to.
the way that you guys approach Thanksgiving now, I see it as though you just kind of treat it like a wet dress rehearsal for Christmas.
Yeah.
It used to
basically.
be that way in our family, right? It was the same kind of meal both times, which, by the way, I am a fan of. But my mother changed that. So, like ours used to be. My mother had like 4 brothers and sisters, right? It's this very big Italian family. New Year's Eve was at my grandparents'. There'd be all kinds of food. You name it, the food was there. Very Italian, with the inclusion of cold cuts, apparently.
Can you explain something to me?
Yeah.
Because it's always kind of confused me. But speaking to somebody who is, has a lot of Italian heritage, you'll probably be able to tell me why this is how it is. But like panettone, right? Does it have to be so dry, or is it normally meant to be so dry? Or
what did you just say?
Is it because it's dry, or is a panettone that's dry just a bad panettone? Like
I don't think I've had panettone.
what the fuck?
I'm sorry. You got to remember, we have Italian and we have German, and now we have Russian in our family.
Oh, that should fit perfectly fine. Like panettone's right in there. With
Probably would be
and
great.
stuff.
I mean, we've had the Feast of the Seven Fishes different times and all that good stuff. I mean, the worst thing is when you're a kid and you're at the Feast of the Seven Fishes, okay? And you say, "Oh, look, breaded French fries," and it's breaded sardines, ladies and gentlemen. That's an eye opener for a child. What day is Christmas? The 25th.
Just for stream chat, like I know that like panettone is a bread, it's not a cake, so like
Yeah.
I know that it's not meant to be super fucking moist, but like I was always kind of wondering why it's hailed as such a big thing when, like, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's not as good as other.
You want to talk about weird food for Christmas? Let me tell you here, Polish tradition / Catholic. I don't know. I think it's mostly Polish, but let's see if anybody in chat recognizes this. Oplatki. I doubt it, but
I have not heard that before.
So oplatki is they're these wafers, like almost like communion wafers. They've got like a Christmas or nativity scene like stamped in it, like it's pressed down to look like a nativity scene, and it's a sheet, and everybody at the table gets their own sheet, and you break off a corner and pass it until you've gotten a piece of everybody's sheet.
I've kind of heard of this, but never seen it.
Oplatki. I don't know how, you'd have to Google it for how to spell it, but it's basically, if you want to talk about what it is, material wise, it's like cake cone, like ice cream cone, cake cone, but take all sugar out.
Yeah, and it's like communion
It's
wafers,
styrofoam.
right?
Yeah, but these are huge sheets, so you'd end up with like these big pieces. So you're like looking at it, they're pink and white, and you're looking at and yellow and stuff, and you're like, great. Like, it was a tradition nobody liked doing, but it was like, well, we all do this, so we might as well.
It's a test. It's to test you. It's like, will you eat this and consider it to be a tradition and not complain about it?
Yeah.
Newsline, we are genetically Polish. I'm 50% genetically Polish. I don't consider myself from Poland Polish. My grandparents were 100%, so my mom's 100%. So genetically, that's what I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why it's like, I'm pretty sure it's a Polish thing, but we've always done it, and No one really likes it, but we do it. So,
Well, how about your we'll go around the room. Favorite holiday cookie?
no bake. I mean, that's not necessarily a holiday cookie, but that's my favorite.
I mean,
cookie.
I think you already
So
know what
it-
mine is.
You have to describe it. I mean, what is that?
A no bake cookie is chocolate peanut buttery oatmeal,
Oh, okay.
but there's no like cookie part of it. You bake it in a saucepan,
Mhm.
and it's basically make hot oatmeal, and then you let it cool into like cookie dollops.
Oh,
There's
you put
so-
little
and
dollops down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, on wax paper or something, so they can like, and you put it in the fridge to just like harden. But it's basically you take like a ton of you take a whole stick of butter and like a half a cup of sugar, and you melt that down, and then you add 6 tablespoons of cocoa powder. I've made this enough myself that I remember most of the recipe.
I know
you take
now
a half
what you're
cup
talking
of
about.
peanut butter. Yeah, and then you add 6 cups of oats. I could eat that hot just in a bowl. I don't need to wait for it to cool, but if you want to wait for cookies.
I hear. I'm there with you. I'm there with you. Holiday. I mean, holidays the only time we'd ever get cookies, right? And my mom used to make, and I think they are a Polish cookie. It's one where it's almost like it's the you start with a square of kind of a cream cheese based like pastry, and you would put like apricot preserves or minced nuts or a cream cheese thing, and you fold them over, a little powdered sugar on top. I forget what they're called, but
It sounds like Keithley's.
something like that.
That sounds very
No, it's not
like
goulash. I'm gonna. I'll find them here.
So-
a little typing. Some people call them bow tie cookies. Okay.
A more recent tradition is we
kolache or kolaki.
kolache.
Yeah, kolache.
Kolache.
Yeah.
So-
Those are kind of that, and somebody mentioned this in chat. Snickerdoodles.
Those are good.
Snickerdoodles.
the more
And
recent
chocolate chip cookies with walnuts in them. So go ahead. Sorry.
A more recent tradition I'm seeing more and more people do is going to a movie on Christmas Day.
Yes, very much. Yeah,
Like
we used to do
we've
that
been doing that for the past few years, just because it's kind of like, well, what else to do? Like a lot of people have like family Christmases to go to, so some people are going to see those families. But it's like, I only have one grandparent left, and we don't really care about or like my dad's sister, my aunt. So like, I don't really want to go like hang out with them that day. And then the other side, my mom's side of the family is really big, so we usually plan that on like a weekend, so that way everybody's available.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, what do we do? Well, let's go see a movie.
So talk about movies and Christmas. I have 2 questions. One.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
One is kind of like almost a trap in itself. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Of course it fucking
Yes.
is. Right? And 2, what is your favorite Christmas movie, but what would you say is a Christmas movie that like basically almost makes Christmas? Like you can't have Christmas without that particular movie.
But did we get everybody with the
thing
cookies?
being on TV?
I don't know that
I'm
we
not-
got your cookie.
Pistachio biscotti.
Oh, okay. Not a cookie, but okay. We'll
So
let you
the
slide
movie
in
that
the spirit
makes
of-
me feel like it's Christmas is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Not where I thought we would go, but okay.
I loved that. I got it when I was young for Christmas one year,
It's just not
and
Christmas until you see it.
it's really good. Like it's a really good rendition of the Christmas Carol, and I absolutely love it. So if I watched it every year. So if I don't get to watch it, it's just like such a letdown.
So, by the way, chat and people, yes, we absolutely want you posting your answers to these questions too.
Yeah,
'Cause
go
they're all good.
ahead.
Oh,
That'd be
yeah.
great.
That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
The Grinch is also a movie
We're all
that I
sharing.
would love to watch at the holidays. I agree. But your favorite cookie or your food or traditions, like let's go for it.
Yeah, my daughter, who's now 10, when she was younger, she didn't like the Grinch cartoon, which is what I like the most, she loved the Jim Carrey Grinch one. And she thought the Grinch was just like the coolest.
Well, he's so expressive in that movie that he just
got a freaking elastic face. Of course, he's expressive. Yeah,
he expresses through all that makeup, and you believe that, like, yes, this is what the Grinch would be like if he was real.
Yeah,
or at least I could believe it.
It is not Christmas without Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for me. I have to watch it every year, and the Charlie Brown Christmas. Those two are staples.
Do they still show all of the claymations? Because I grew up watching. I know that they're really old, but like I grew up watching all those claymations on ABC Family.
All those Hanna-Barbera things and all that stuff. You got Frosty. You've got obviously Rudolph is a claymation. You've got Santa Claus is coming to town, which, by the way, answers the question of, Mrs. Claus's name is Jessica. So you should all know. And she's a redhead.
Her name is Jessica?
And she's a redhead, just so you know. Santa
Claus?
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Well, the movie The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, that ended up being just a fun, good movie.
All of them. I love them all.
I know.
You know the little girl who's the niece? Do you know whose daughter that is?
No, whose daughter is
Bill Mooney's.
Who's that?
You don't know who Bill Mooney is?
I'm sure I'd probably recognize it, but no.
Lost in Space, Will Robinson.
Oh,
the original, and he was also Lanier in Babylon 5. Bill Mooney was. Yeah, and that's his daughter. So yeah, so we'll live on the Hallmark Channel. Christmas Day we'll be playing the Happy Yule Log station on the Hallmark Channel here. Big fan of the Hallmark stuff. But in the newer, not the old one, the Miracle on 34th Street, right?
I don't know if I've ever watched that one.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Miracle on 34th.
Yeah, it's
that's
really
with the little girl, right?
Yeah, and the new one is really well done. The old one was well done, but the new one really, really well done. So yeah, Groundhog Day. Not really Christmas for me.
But Scrooged is, and that was pretty funny too. I never watched that originally, but a couple of years ago, I got introduced to it, and it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's not like the best one, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty much anything Christmassy. I mean, I dig. So the other thing I've got to get the kids to see some of this stuff because I've talked to them about it. A couple, just get a few Warren Miller movies out there for those who know who Warren Miller is. If you don't, back in his day, he did some of the most interesting and fun ski movies out there about skiing. And the stuff that he got, and just him talking was hilarious about being just ski bums and things like that. I got to do that. But yes, I mean, there's just so many good ones. I mean, we start watching them in November here. So
I'll watch a Christmas movie in July. I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah. I mean, and by the way, so we just had 14 inches of snow here. So for the last couple days, all the pine trees, and I live in an area with a lot of pine trees. All the pine trees, all the limbs are pushed down with like 6, 7, 8 inches of snow on them, and it's just like a perfect alpine look here. Any movie that gives me that alpine look like that, I love. Ski mask movies, Saw or Friday the 13th.
I always find it really funny that the sort of like the Christmas or festive based sort of cookery programs that come along, right by Christmas, like they're always made in like September or whatever, and they all have to like pretend that it's Christmas. The fact that they have to pretend. Like, it's so cold, etc., etc. They're doing the sort of like the sort of chilly winter
meanwhile they're sweating
kind of thing, and they're like, oh, it's so cold, etc., etc. While it looks like it's sort of August or whatever, and they're fucking boiling hot.
Yeah. The one of the traditions that really go away this year is, the kids going to see Santa Claus at the malls. That's one of those things.
That's okay. I'm fine with that.
I was going to say one thing about
Yeah.
that. In actual fact, I didn't know. I wasn't sure how to sort of like get into this sort of topic with the whole COVID stuff.
Yeah.
But the one thing which I think is probably a bonus to people's psyches, at least retail retail sales assistant kind of psychological sort of quality of life is they don't have to sit and work while listening to the same 4 Christmas songs on repeat constantly.
Hey, there's at least 25, and by the way, in a Hallmark store, you listen to it starting in July. So you hear it in July, and then you hear it, Thanksgiving all the way through, right?
Imagine the psychological damage that like.
So I grew up in retail with family businesses, and I will tell you that I loved it. It never bothered me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did. I was there, right, every day, doing stuff like that. Now, Monkey Man, whatever. He says when the fog forms ice crystals on the trees in the early morning, and then the sun cuts through them as the sky clears. That is super cool. It's super cool. That is some nice stuff, especially up in the mountains. Christmas music for retail.
It's a Viva La Dirt League kind of video, so it's a comedy skit about it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But like they go full Office Space at the end of it. It's fucking funny.
Okay.
But yeah.
You know what? Excellent Christmas movie. Office Christmas Party.
I feel like I've seen that, but it's been a long time.
I'm trying to remember all the actors, but you will see them. And we watched it this year. I remember my wife and I went to see it out in the theater when it actually came out because we said this is going to have to be hilarious. Like Jennifer Aniston's in it and a bunch of other folks. And the concept is, this was their dad's business. She's on the board now or whatever, and she's going to shut down the founding branch that her brother runs because he's such an idiot. And in reality, they've got the golden goose for the company being worked on there. And, she pisses them off so much that by telling them they can't have an office Christmas party, that they go just a little further overboard than perhaps they should have, right? And it's hilarious. I mean, it truly is. So if you haven't seen one, go check it out. That's definitely Office Christmas Party. It's not going to get you in the holiday season, but it's going to make you laugh your ass off. But yeah,
I'm trying to think of a Christmas movie that I used to watch a long time ago, but like I can't remember. It definitely seems like it's out of circulation in some way, shape, or form. But I'm going to take a little moment or so to.
Don't forget Christmas Vacation. The Griswolds.
That
my wife, who is Jewish, must watch that every year. So that's the other little holiday tradition that we have, and it's kind of developed in the family. The whole family, and I'm talking about the whole extended family, all celebrates all of the holidays that the various folks, and we have Hanukkah and we have Christmas, and we just really celebrate them. Sometimes they overlap because Hanukkah isn't like the 10th to the 17th every year or whatever. It changes, and sometimes overlaps Christmas. So we have everything at every time. So yeah, lots of good
Love
food.
Actually is a Christmas movie.
What?
Apparently, Love Actually is a Christmas movie.
You know what? Okay. So
it is
full. Whatever transparency. I watched that movie before the show today. I took a little time and watched Love Actually. It is a favorite of mine. It's just the guy that I forget his name that plays the Prime Minister of England, right?
Hugh Grant.
Oh yeah,
Hugh Grant at the very end, right? He knocks on the door, and the little old lady answers, and he goes, Merry Christmas. She goes, aren't you, he goes, yes, I'm wishing everybody Merry Christmas as part of the service this year, trying to get everybody before New Year's. And she's like, okay, that's cool. They move on. And they keep going down all the doors. I love the little girls that make them sing, and he's trying to sing, and then his security guard really has a great voice and starts singing, and the girls are just jamming. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Unfortunately, that style of movie spawned some other movies that were terrible, like Valentine's Day and New Year's.
What was it?
Following multiple paths to one conclusion at the end or whatever, where everyone interacts.
I love the British guy that goes to America, and I forget where the hell he goes.
Oh,
and he meets the girls in the bar, and they just love his accent, right? Now, how do you say this? Oh, it's the same. How do you say this? Oh, bottle. Oh, look, bottle. And we're very poor girls. We only have
no one ever
bed.
says it to Americans to say things to them.
Well, Southern
it's always
girls.
The other way.
Southern girls. As a northerner who always went south for vacation, right? Oh yeah, you meet the Southern girls, the Georgia girls, and the South Carolina girls, and all that down there, and you're sitting there going, "I just like to hear you talk." That's true. Nothing like a Southern draw.
Yeah.
Sorry, you should develop one of those, Dawn. You're down south. What's going on there?
I'm not down south. I'm in Indiana.
Oh, sorry. Why did I think you were in Florida? Why did I think that, Dawn? Indiana, though. Indiana, the home birthplace of Straight No Chaser. One of my favorite holiday groups to sing songs. They're an a cappella group, folks. Straight No Chaser. They're amazing. You can catch them on YouTube. Do the original 12 Days of Christmas. I was actually at that performance that is on YouTube.
I have a Christmas one. Favorite Christmas carol or song. Favorite Christmas song. It doesn't even have to be one you sing. Which one, whenever you hear it, you're just yeah. Mine would... One of my favorites, my two favorites are "O Come Emmanuel." I belt that out, and I will do that in July. Poor Docs has had to listen to me all year, randomly decide to sing and listen to that song. And then I love "Winter Snow" by Audrey whatever not, but it's a really short but good song.
Yeah, I really live with the plethora of Christmas songs. So I like older sung Christmas songs like Bing Crosby and them, and White Christmas, Silver Bells, but even the more traditional ones, Carol of the Bells, things like that. That's kind of where I sit, and I do have my own playlist that goes. And by the way, when Bing Crosby did his duel with what's his name, Drummer Boy. Why is the name Ziggy Stardust? David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Yeah, that isn't anything. I'm not big Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Oh, and driving around looking at Christmas lights. We have done that as a family 3 times now already. Once before the snow, once after the snow, because we have a lot of people that really go out, right? We have lots of Christmas lights too. And we went to, one of those areas where they have the county fair areas, and they just put lights everywhere and they synchronize them to music. Pretty amazing what they can do with addressable LEDs and things now. So yeah, we do that. I think we paid $50 to drive through this little light show area. So
we just did lights recently on Monday. They had at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. They had a light display out there, and you just got like a ticket to be able to do it, and they had like little like light up elves hidden in there, and you just drove through with your car to see them. So it was completely virus safe and approved. You didn't have to get near anybody or touch anybody. But they had all the lights synced up with the music that was being played on a local radio thing, and it was just really nice and fun. We would normally do that over in Terre Haute because they had always at Donner Park over in Terre Haute with my grandparents had a lot of lights, and we'd always do that every time we went to visit them for Christmas. So it was a fun thing to do this year with my grandma now that she lives here with us.
Yeah, we did that. It was my wife was saying, "Do we buy the express pass? It's an extra $20." I'm like, "Okay, just do it, right? I don't care." Well, when we got there, man,
were you happy you did?
Oh my God, there were like 2 cars, and we went right in, right? And then we looked at the other cars from the non-express lane thing, right? And I'm saying, holy shit, that thing's like a half an hour to an hour long to wait to get in here.
That's what it was. We got there pretty much right as the thing opened for the state fairgrounds, and like we were already. It took us a half an hour just to get up to the start of it, which wasn't. We saw how many cars there were. Wasn't too bad. By the time we left, the line was so long that they were like winding it back and forth through their various parking lots just to get them off the road from blocking the actual streets. There were so many cars. I was like, this is on a Monday night. Dear Lord, people. Go find something else to do. Just Christmas lights.
Yeah, we did it last night, you know. Yeah, it was fun. The kind of the holidays, you know, in our family, it was always kind of fun because number one, in November and December, when you're in small business and you're in retail, that's really where you make the bulk of your money, right? That's 80% of your year in income. So you're working really hard the whole time, but you know, you have customers that bring you in cookies and wine and all this stuff, and that was always funny because, you know, the 50% sale the day after Christmas, so we worked the 26th, right? I mean, we're sitting there, one of our good friends, she would bring in mimosa mix, right? And she'd mix mimosas. We were there like, and this is before scanners, right? You actually had to type numbers, okay, and hit buttons and know what you're going to do on a register, right? And you're like, all this stuff is 50% off, and you're ringing the right stuff in, and you're just going like crazy, jamming mimosas, you know, hoping you're hitting the right numbers. It's hilarious. I mean, we go for hours without a break. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, that one day, Christmas Day, that you got off if you worked retail, I mean, that was just so much fun and so relaxing. You know, we had a real fireplace with a real fire, real Christmas trees. My mother would decorate it beautifully. You know, candles everywhere. It was just a really nice time. So that it was like the one calm day, right? And then you came into New Year's, and it would be the same thing. And so for New Year's Eve, that's when, like, you talk about going to a movie, Don. That's the night we would all go to a movie as a family. And we have done that. We would pick a movie, we get the tickets, we all go, we eat dinner beforehand somewhere, and then we all go to a movie, and then everybody pretty much goes home. Nobody stays up and parties. You stay up to midnight on your own.
I'm just saying, everyone, if you want a new tradition, Chinese food for Christmas is a good idea. It's feel good. You don't have to clean up after yourselves, and it'll put you right to sleep. So that way you can wake up Christmas. We always celebrate it on Christmas Eve as well. We celebrate both days. So like big presents are Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day is like stocking stuffers, and then like hanging out with the family.
So you would do a couple presents, like 1 or 2 on Christmas Eve after dinner, and we have like it used to be, you know, kind of something light. It was kind of fried chicken, and funny fried chicken, right? There it is, and scalloped potatoes and some other things, and cold cuts and
Listen,
things.
They're
like
already
that.
Open Newsline, so like might as well give them that extra money.
They do. Chinese places are open. That's why, and that's a big thing. By the way, it is a big thing in the Jewish community to go get Chinese Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It's not an unusual thing. In fact, that's what my wife and her family would do. Now she doesn't do that because she has to have Christmas stuff. But yeah, but now we'll get like a rib roast and cook it, and get some sides, and then we'll have a second rib roast. My mother likes to do filet, and cook it up and serve it the next day as well. So we've gone from the Thanksgiving turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and all that twice a year to that's Thanksgiving, and beef is Christmas, and New Year's is that wonderful German food, sauerkraut and dumplings and all the different pork and kielbasi and all that stuff. I have a feeling this year a lot of that stuff is actually going to come. We have a thing called pierogies. It's a pierogies plus or something like that. There's these two Polish women that have got together, and they make all homemade meals out of this little storefront, and halushki and all that good stuff. I have a feeling some of that might work its way into New Year's Day this year.
Listen, if you've never had pierogies, you're missing out.
Pierogi. We have a diner here that one of the side options is pierogies. So, you can get potato pancakes, you get hash browns, you get home fries, a side of fruit, or you can get pierogies. They have a kielbasi omelet that you can get too. Nobody in Germany eats sauerkraut for Christmas. Hey man, I'm just telling you, it's New Year's. We don't do it for Christmas. New Year's. All right? And that's what the German side of the family did. So, hey. Heavy on the butter. Oh, yeah. They got to be swimming in butter, monkey. Swimming. As my friend Bartman says. Swimming in butter and onions. So good.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Because that's the best. You boil them just to get them cooked, and then you put them in the pan to get them
Get a little
crisp.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just the top pieces. None of the edge needs to be crispy. Just the top and the bottom needs to have a little bit of oomph in there.
Oh yeah. They got. I was hoping that this little pierogi joint, right, had made potato pancakes or latkes or something, but they did not do that. But they actually have a potato and cottage cheese pierogi. Yeah. That sounded odd to me.
Yeah.
But they have potato and bacon, potato and cheese with bacon and jalapeno peppers. Lots of different cabbage things. Oh, so good. I hate when I look at the menus. Sour herring on New Year's Day. No.
Yeah, that sounds like a Finnish thing or something.
Ugh.
That is.
No herring. I'm not a big pickled herring fan or anything like that. Donuts are always good. Good for the hangover. I don't drink enough to have a hangover anymore. It's very sad. All right, folks. So here we are at 3:03.
Oh, we're over.
Yes, we're over. Anybody want to go through a one last thing? McLeod?
I was saving my one last thing from those two things that I was going to be talking about. So that other thing that is going to be my one last thing is if you're a space nerd and you don't know about The Expanse, then you need to watch The Expanse, and then you need to be up on the 5th series of The Expanse because it's fucking awesome. And Wednesday they're releasing some more episodes, and I can't wait.
Did they release this season, a couple of them?
They released 3
okay.
Like last Wednesday, and so I think they're releasing 3 more this Wednesday.
Okay, that'd be cool. Yeah, got to catch up on that.
It's a really fucking good series.
Dave, are you still listening, talking? You want to do one last thing?
I want to give a shout out to all my new supporters on Reddit. Apparently, there seems to be like a good 6 people now that have copied my username. It's hilarious and creepy at the same time. I'm loving it. So I want to give a shout out to them guys.
Yeah, and Goonie DuPont, I believe it's on Amazon. Right? For The Expanse.
Yes, it's an Amazon Prime thing.
Yeah. Don, do you want to do one last thing?
My last thing is everyone have a good time with your family in one way or the other, whether that be virtual or in person. Make sure to stay safe, and I hope that everyone has a nice, relaxing holiday time.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, and I will wish everybody happy holidays, whichever holiday you are celebrating, or multiples, as we do. Thank you for putting up with us as an audience. We will let's see what the dates are next week. So next week is the 26th. I'm not sure if we're going to do a show or not. We'll talk internally and we'll do some sort of announcement to whether we're doing the 26th. I know I'm free, but we'll see how it goes. And then the next week is Hangover Day, the 2nd. Well, yeah, depends on how much drinking. When the 31st is on a Thursday, and New Year's Day is on a Friday. I mean that could be a double drinking back to back. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. But yes, we wish all of you a wonderful time, wonderful holiday, and let's see. Meta Show is up in 55 minutes, so please check it out. We know that Brisk is clean. He's ready. He's styling. He's profiling for that show. So make sure you guys catch it. That's about it for us. Thank you very much, everybody. You have a wonderful holiday. Be safe and enjoy whatever time you can with everybody that you can. Take care. Bye.
Merry Christmas.